Hi you guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Julia Creations and I'm back with another video. Oh my gosh, let me see if I like this lighting. Hold on guys, I don't know if you guys are gonna like this lighting. Hold on one second. Alright you guys, I'm sorry. When I try to find a lighting that I like, it's so hard for me to tell because with the sun going down early, I like to use natural light on my videos, you guys, and I just haven't had the luxury of being able to do that. So I apologize in advance, you guys, if the camera lighting is a little wonky. I'm just testing it out to see what's gonna work due to my posting schedule and all that good stuff. But hi you guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, hi guys, my name is Julia Creations. I'm a budget coach that teaches you how to budget and manage your finances 10 times easier. And then also, if you're returning to my channel, welcome in. In today's video, you guys, we're going to be having a little bit of fun. I already filled in the calendar for this budget, but we're going to talk about how to budget if you have a non-fixed income that fluctuates and you're trying to get a month ahead. I always recommend any of my clients that have a non-fixed income to try their hardest to get a month ahead. So we're going to be doing that example. If you missed my how to get a month ahead, I have a version that includes cash stuffing, and I have a version that just includes doing it in your bank account. So I'm going to put both of those videos in the description for you guys to check out depending on what your financial schedule is. If you're new to this channel, I have playlists based on any type of financial situation that you have, and all the products we are using is made by me. I've helped thousands of people get out of debt and get their finances on track using my budget planner and just my coaching advice. Once again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I will not be helping you guys with the investment part of your finances, but I will be showing you how to set up a budget based off different pay schedules and things that have worked for my clients, just teaching them how to get the standard budgeting in the way. We're going to be using the month ahead binder for this example. We're not going to be doing the full cash stuffing example for this video. We're just going to do the month ahead cash stuffing, each paycheck, small increments to reach your goal. I did recently just drop my binders for my anniversary collection, you guys. So if you want to grab a binder, they are available now on juliacreations.com, and these will ship out tomorrow for our checkered print ones. And then we have our pink and purple to go with our budget planner. So if you guys want to check out our products, you guys can check those out. And we have a special code for my YouTube family, which is called YTFAM15. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. And we are still doing a giveaway for these binders with the challenges I have listed on my channel. Sorry you guys, I'm trying to get everything going on. My mind is like racing 10 times today. But let's get straight into it. We're going to be doing a server's budget, or anybody that has a non-fixed income, but we're doing an average of what that income is. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of everything, and we're going to break everything down. So of course what I went ahead and did is filled in our calendar. So depending on what your pay schedule is or what your paychecks are like, you guys, we're going to budget based off that. So this is a basically $110 a day, and then we have a bi-weekly standard income that we're bringing in from our hourly wage. So this is going to be different depending on where you're at, what your state requires. If you do have an hourly paycheck, for this example, it's a server, and we have $150 bi-weekly for our hourly. So about $110 each week after tax, and then our hourly paychecks about $150 after tax every 2 weeks. So that's where we combine those in here, and we're going to explain that more when we get to the monthly budget section. But here is our calendar laid out. We just estimated our paychecks on here, and we're going to talk about how we add up all the money that we bring in daily to reach this goal. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is set up our monthly budget. So if you have a income that fluctuates, we want to see what we're averaging, right? So we're going to write down an average income, and then we're going to go ahead and break down that average income into our paycheck breakdown, or a weekly budget that allows us to feel comfortable and confident with our income being able to change. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is set up our monthly budget. So this is our monthly estimate for the month, and we're going to set up what our goal is. So this is going to be for the month of November. Our goal is to get a month ahead. This is still going to be some of the same factors from my other videos, but we're just going to do it based on this type of income. So we bring in daily tips averaging about $110 per day. So that's going to bring us basically into about 550 times 4. We work 5 times a week. 550 times 4. We bring in about 2,200 based off tips. And that's just our average. Once again, put an average, you guys, because that can change. And then we also have a hourly paycheck as well, which we're bringing in about 150 every 2 weeks. which totals to about $300 a month. Now we're going to go ahead and do the math here. If we take $2,200 plus $300, we're bringing in about $2,500 a month. All right. And then now we're going to go ahead and write down our fixed bills that we have for the month. This is going to be all your bills that are usually the same every single month. So we're going to go ahead and categorize these. I did write this in the calendar just to speed up time, you guys, since I am recording this video a little later than I intended. So we did fill in the calendar with all our fixed bills. We're just going to go ahead and date it on here. So for our fixed bills, starting on the 1st, we have rent, and we have a roommate. So we split about $11.50 on rent. And then we have utilities due on the 1st. And this is just our monthly overview, you guys. We're going to break this down to a paycheck breakdown. And then bi-weekly, we have our car payment. Or we're going to break our car payment down into 2 paychecks. We'll talk about this when we get deeper into it, which totals to $220 a month. We'll just divide that by 2. And then on the 16th, we have car insurance, about $127. And then our phone bill for on 11/18 for $85. Once again, look at your expenses and break it down based on your own categories. And that's what we have for our fixed side. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and go to our variable side and add this up and put our variables that we have for our expenses. This is going to be different, once again, based off your budget, your finances, your goals, and your lifestyle. So we're going to go ahead and put our groceries. For $260. Our gas for $160. We have eating out for $80. We have credit cards for $85. Then we have subscriptions for $20. Those could technically be a fixed bill. I put them on the variable side because you can cut those to save money. And then we have spending for $50. All right, now let's go ahead and add up all of our bills and expenses, and let's see what we total to for the month. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and add that up here. So we have our rent for $11.50. We have utilities for $60. Our car payment for $220. Our car insurance for $127. Our phone bill for $85. This is going to bring our fixed bills to a total of $16.42 for the month, and this is where we want to get a month ahead. So our goal is to save $16.42, and what you're going to do in your month ahead binder, we're going to go ahead and set this up with your categories. So we have our rent, our car payment, our phone bill, our car insurance, our utilities are all the categories we're going to be saving to get a month ahead on, and that's the full amount. So our goal is $16.42. Now let's go ahead and add up our variables in the next category. If you want to do the full month, you guys, you can do your full total of expenses. Since we have a smaller cash surplus in this budget, we're going to start off small, and I'm going to break all that down on the example that we have here when we get to that part. So for our variables, $260 for groceries, gas $160, eating out $80, credit cards $85, subscriptions for $20, and then spending for $50. That brings our variables to a total of $655. $655 plus $16.42 brings our total of expenses for the month to $22.97. All right, how much do we have left over after bills and expenses? $2,500 minus $22.97 is going to be the formula. $2,500 minus $22.97 is going to be $203. Now let's see where we get this $203 in our paycheck cycle. And then if you want to do a full month ahead budget, you will be saving $22.97. We're only going to do bills, so we're only going to shoot for $16.42. Alright, you guys, so now we got to my favorite part of budgeting, which is going to be the paycheck breakdown, because I think this is the biggest game changer when it comes to trying to manage your finances and figuring out what you have each week. So once again, we are doing an average, and the good thing about this is you can write down what you're actually receiving each week. So if you do have anything that changes within your budget, you can document it. So we go through a paycheck cycle where we have paycheck number 1, paycheck number 2, paycheck number 3, and then we have paycheck number 4. And this is my favorite method to do when you're planning out your paychecks, since we're paid basically weekly, or we have a weekly income that we're bringing in even if we're paid daily. So our first paycheck cycle falls on payday of 10/31. Our second paycheck falls on 11/7, November 7th. The next paycheck falls on November 14th. And then our last paycheck of this cycle is going to fall on the 21st. That last paycheck is going to be paycheck number 1 of the next month. Okay. All right, so now that we have our paycheck cycle broken down, we're going to go ahead and set up our paycheck breakdown. So we're going to start with our first paycheck that we have of the month. All right, you guys, so I like to go in with a highlighter here. We're going to go ahead and section this off. I have my flash on since we are using my glitter highlighters. I want you guys to be able to see the glitter, but I don't know if it's going to show. So we're going to go ahead and section off this paycheck, which is the paycheck of the 31st. And this has to cover us all the way into the paycheck of the 7th. So we're going to go ahead and just highlight this here until the 7th. Perfect. Okay. All right. So now that we have that sectioned off, we're going to go ahead and put what we're going to cover for this paycheck, you guys. So since we are bringing in a non-fixed income, so let's just say we put an average for the income. Sorry, you guys, I have my phone on here with me too. So we put an average for the income of the income averaging $700. This is the time frame where we get our paycheck and we also get our daily pay. So this will bring our income to about $700 this paycheck. If this was to change, you'll just adjust it. But what we're going to do, since we're paid weekly, our rent totals to $11.50. We're going to take that $11.50 and we're going to divide it by 4. So we're going to be putting away about $287 each paycheck for rent. So we're going to put rent, $287, rent, $287. And then the last 2 paychecks, we're going to do rent as $288 just to even out. I just don't like writing cents, but if the cents don't bother you, you can just put the full cents breakdown on your planner. I don't know why, but it bothers me so much. So we got rent, and that's going to be $288 weekly. All right, so we know as soon as we get paid, or if we get our daily tips, we're going to go ahead and put $287 of that up right away towards rent. So that way rent is split into 4 and we're not relying on a full paycheck for rent, okay? So there is our rent breakdown. Now let's go ahead and do what we have for this week. So for the first paycheck of the month, we actually moved our car payment down. So the car payment actually falls on the next week. So we're going to cross this off from here and we're going to move it down to this week, because when we were setting up this budget, it made more sense to do our car payment on this 2 schedules instead of the bi-weekly. So we adjusted that. So we're going to cover for this paycheck is going to be our rent. Oopsie, what highlighter was I using this one? We're going to cover our rent, our utilities, our subscriptions, our car insurance, okay? So let's go ahead and break down the rest of this in our paycheck cycle. Okay, so we have rent, our portion of the rent, and then we're going to pay utilities, which is $60 for this check. Utilities for $60. All right, and then we have our subscription for $10 this paycheck. Our car insurance, $127. And that's all we're going to cover bill wise. Now let's go ahead and look at our variables. For groceries, we spend $260 a month. $260 divided by 4, we're going to break that to weekly. We're going to spend about $65 weekly on groceries. So this is where you can go hand in hand with putting your cash stuffing for your variables, so you can fill those up each day you're paid. Just go ahead and fill those up, or you can keep it in your account, whatever is easier for you. Gas, we spend $160 a month, so that's about $40 each paycheck. Eating out, we're doing $80 a month, so it's about $20 each paycheck. And remember that this is going to be different based off your numbers and your expenses. And then spending, we have $25. Okay, now let's go ahead and add up our paycheck for this week. We estimate it to bring in $700, $287 plus 60 plus 127. Out of that, we plan to spend about $474 on bills. And then on our variables, we have 10 plus 65 plus 40 plus 20 plus 25. We spend about 160 on variables. 160 plus 474. Our expenses for this paycheck total to $634. If we go ahead and take $700, which is what we brought in, and we minus it from 634, 700 minus 634, we have $66 left over to go in our savings. Okay, not too bad for our first paycheck of the month. Alright, you guys, so let's get to the fun part of our month ahead binder. So if we have $66 left over for this paycheck, so this is going to be $66. So we have 60 right here, 5, 6, 66 is what we have left over from this paycheck. You can start doing your month ahead directly from your paycheck. So let's go ahead and focus on what our goal is for that month ahead. And let's say we want to get a month ahead on our we'll go ahead and start with our smaller expenses. You can do your rent or whatever you want to do first. Let's say our goal is we want to get a, well, we might as well just put it towards rent. I wanted to divide it some more, but it's okay. We'll put it towards rent. So $66 is going to be towards our rent category for this paycheck. Okay. So boom, that's our first paycheck of the month complete. That's how much we spent on bills and expenses, and then that's how much we put in our month ahead category for paycheck number 1 of the month. So now let's do our second paycheck of the month. All right, you guys, so our next paycheck falls on the 17th. So we're gonna go ahead and highlight that section over there. So we have our paycheck fall, I mean not the 17th, the 7th, you guys, sorry. So we're gonna go ahead and section this off again how we did before the first time. I love to just use the highlighters and section this off. All right, and we're going to highlight everything we're going to cover with this paycheck. And then now we're going to go ahead and write this down on our paycheck breakdown. So we have our payday, and then this is where we have just our weekly tips. Now if that were to change from $5.50, let's say you bring in more that week, you'll just add it on there, but $5.50 is our average of what we're bringing in. So with that $5.50, we're for sure going to cover that $287 portion of the rent, like we always do. And then we split our car payment into 2 this week. So we're going to put 110. And then our credit card, we're also going to put on here our credit card number 1, which has a minimum of $25, is going to go on this paycheck. And then we're going to do our stuff that repeats again. So we have groceries for $65. We have gas for $40, eating out for $20, and then spending is every 2 weeks, so we won't do spending this week. So let's go ahead and add up our expenses for this paycheck. $287 plus 110 is going to be $397. 25 plus 65 plus 40 plus 20. Our variables are going to total to $150 this paycheck. $150 plus $397 brings our expenses for this paycheck to $547. And if we do the math, $550 minus $547, we'll only have $3 left over. But hey, we're going to add that $3 towards our month ahead section. All right. So we have exactly $3 left over this paycheck. So 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and categorize this in our month ahead binder. It's nothing too fancy, but you got to start off small. So for our month ahead, we already put up for the first paycheck, we put away $66 on that category. So we're going to go ahead and just put the $3 into this section as well for our rent. So let's go ahead and portion that off here. All right, so for this paycheck, we're only going to put $3 away. So that's all we had left over, and we're just going to add this to our rent, which now brings our month ahead rent category to $69 there. Our goal is going to be $11.50 minus 69. We already have $10.81 left over to reach our goal. So there's our savings between both paychecks that total to that. Now let's go to our third paycheck for the month. Alright, you guys, and I keep saying paycheck, but I want you guys to remember that this is also including daily pay. So you're just adding up your pay towards the end of the week for this breakdown. So we're going to go ahead and section off our calendar again, and this paycheck falls on the 14th. Go ahead and section this off. And especially if you have a inconsistent income, I highly recommend spreading your bills out as much as possible so your bills are spread out not too bad for if any of those incomes change. All right, so now we're on the paycheck of the 14th, and this is going to be where we bring in our paycheck that we have, our hourly and our tips, which brings us to $700 for the average. So right off the bat, we're going to pay the rent with this paycheck, and then we're going to put $110 towards the car payment. So we're going to do car payment $110, finalize the car payment, and then we have our phone bill for $85. And then our subscriptions for $10. And then we have our stuff that repeats again, groceries, $65, gas for $40, eating out $20, okay. So for this paycheck, let's go ahead and add this up here. $288 plus $110 plus $85. Our fixed bills total for $483. Our variables, $10 for subscriptions, groceries for $65, gas for $40, eating out for $20. This brings this to, let's see here. Oh, we also have spending this week too. We didn't do spending last week. Spending's bi-weekly. So plus 25. We have 160. 160 plus 483. Our spending for this week will be 643. 700 minus 643 is going to leave us with $57 left over this paycheck for our savings. Alright, you guys, same fun process we have before. For this paycheck, we brought in $700, $643 went out. We have $57 left over, which is right here. And we're going to go ahead and add this to our month ahead binder. And we're going to go ahead and put this towards our rent because we want to finish our rent off first. So starting small, there's $69 in here. We're going to add $57 to this binder. All right. So 69 plus 57, we now have $126 in our month ahead for our rent section. So we're slowly making progress. We have 1,000 more to go to be a month ahead. So let's keep going. Let's do our last paycheck breakdown. All right, you guys, so now we're on our last paycheck breakdown. Sorry, you guys, my flash from my phone. And we have this here. It's going to be our last paycheck. This will be our first paycheck of December, so we're not going to worry about that one. And we're going to go ahead and break this down. All right, so right off the bat of this paycheck, once again, we put away our $288, our portion of our rent. So let's go ahead and put that in there. And then we also have, let's see here, in this breakdown, we have our credit card for $60 that comes out this week. So that's our only other bill basically. All right, and then we have our groceries for $65 that repeats again every week. We have our gas, which totals to $40 every week. Our eating out for $20. And then we have, that's it. All right, so our fixed total to $288. 60 plus 65 plus 40 plus 20. That brings our variables to $185 this week. 185 plus 288. And this was the paycheck that brought in $550. Sorry you guys, I got ahead of myself. That was a paycheck that brought in $550. Our expenses total to $473. 550 minus 473. We have $77 left over to go in our savings. Okay, now let's go ahead and grab that $77. Here is $77. We're gonna go ahead and put this in our month ahead. And we're actually going to put this, instead of putting it towards rent so we can get even more month ahead, we're going to go ahead and put this to our utility bill. We're going to put $60 towards our utility bill so we can be a month ahead, especially since our income fluctuates. We'll have something towards that utility. So we're going to put $60 towards the utility. And then we're going to put the rest of the money into the rent, since rent's our main goal, but it never hurts to have something else ahead, especially with income that can fluctuate. All right, so I'm going to put the rest of this in the rent category. All right, and just like that, with a job or income that may fluctuate, we set up a average and we set up our binder here. Now, once again, if your income does change and it's not pretty consistent, you'll just go through and set up your budget as you go, but always make sure you're covering your fixed first. So always try to reach your fixed bill total, and then you can always adjust your variables as needed. But the goal is to get a month ahead in these categories so we can leave money in there. And let's say you don't use your spending or your gas and you want to put that towards your month ahead at the end of the month, or move that to the next following week, you can. And that is as easy as it is, you guys, to set up a month ahead with a income that may fluctuate by setting up our average. So that is our budget plan that we have here. Thank you guys again for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And then if you want to get this budget planner, make sure you grab your budget planners at juliacreations.com. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. I post every single Wednesday for all my new budget babes. Bye, you guys.